And now, Mr. Willy's Pod of Mayhem on the Breaking Fate Radio Network.
Estamos estampillas. A close of artwork. For you, in fact, coming up next up. Come on,
welcome to the Pod of Mayhem. I'm Jeff Phoenix with Feathers of Flame Takeover. Thank you for listening to episode 10 featuring filmmaker, award-winning actor and entrepreneur Willy Adkins. Before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you to Breaking Fate Radio for allowing me this awesome opportunity to host tonight's episode of Pod of Mayhem. I also wanted to say fuck you to the coffee guy for bringing me the wrong shit. I'm super excited about tonight's show, and I can assure you it's going to be lots of fucking fun. I'll be right back with our special guest, Willy Adkins, in just a moment. For now, I'm going to go fuck this Asian hooker while a Thai prostitute fingers me in the eye hole.
My name is Asha Kin, and I am passionate about creating music for film. If you are looking to add music to your next project, avoid the hassle of digging through endless tracks of generic stock music libraries, and let's talk about how we can work together to create the perfect music to support your creative vision. Look for me at www.ashakin.com.
Welcome back, guys, to Pod of Mayhem. This is Jeff Phoenix with you, Feathers of Flame Takeover. And I have to say that was probably the best blowjob I've ever had from complete and total strangers. Don't ask questions, just accept it. So on today's show, we've got Willy Adkins, filmmaker, award-winning actor, and entrepreneur. What's going on, man?
Hey, it's kind of weird, man. It's like role reversal. I'm getting all tingly inside. My nipples are like hard as a rock right now. Maybe that's the air conditioner behind me. I'm not sure, but this is really weird. I'm on this side of the booth bitch today. It's kind of weird.
So, I mean, does it insult you to have me click your mouse over here?
No. Everybody's got to get double-clicked here and there.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they said a while ago in the alleyway. All right, so today, the first thing I would like to talk to you about is a little bit about your past. Dig up some of that Mr. Willy Adkins. And figure out what's going on behind the mastermind of the glorious baldness that is you. So, where are you originally from?
Originally, I am from here, and I was born in DeKalb, Illinois, but I grew up in a small town called Leland, Illinois, which is a population of less than 1,000 people. I think it was like 865 or so at the time I was there. And I went there when I was in first grade. I actually moved to several places when I was really, really young. We never really sat still too long, but planted my feet in Leland when I was about, I can't remember how old I was. I know it was first grade when I started there, and I stayed there from first grade through 12th grade. It was all in one building, one level school. My graduating class was like a record number of people of 35 at the time. It's pretty small town stuff. A lot of people don't realize the small town.
So it's kind of one of those things where it's like the preacher is also the post office postmaster, or the sheriff, and the
pretty
doctor
much
is also.
There was a Casey's gas station, which was built in the time that I was living there, and there was like a little farmer-style restaurant, and there used to be a video store that had ice cream they sold called Dream Treat, which is no longer around. And that was basically it. There wasn't much to the town. There wasn't a stoplight, nothing like that at all. Just tiny, rural farm community, mostly. And, you know, I kind of miss it, but kind of don't at the same time.
So almost like the same kind of place that I grew up in.
Probably, yeah. Very small town.
Really shitty.
it was everybody knew everybody type of situation.
Oh, yeah, I could definitely understand that.
But I did like parts of that, you know. I mean, as I've lived in Nashville, and I've lived in other, you know, off the edge of cities,
Right.
And it just seems to me that, you know, as I've experienced more of these more urban areas, that I almost learned to appreciate the small town feel and the pros that come with that. I had a lot of issues when I was there. I was bullied heavily, really bad, and I still think, even with all of that, I think the kids were just bored and didn't have anything else better to do in a town like that. But you didn't feel as insecure or unsafe.
Oh, yeah. See, for us, it was either you had three choices: the movie theater, the Walmart parking lot, or Pilot parking lot, or dirt roads. I mean, there was absolutely nothing there. But yeah, I mean, I could understand that. So jumping ahead to present day, do you have, obviously, we know you're married. Can you tell us a little bit about that, your family life?
Actually, I'll be jumping back to the past to talk about that a little bit. This is my third marriage I'm on now. I say third time's a charm. I'm going to be a widow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm with the woman I intend to stay with the rest of my life, but I have been married a couple times before. I first got married to a girl named Allison, who I honestly still love to this day, though I haven't seen her in more than 20 years probably now. I met her after I came back from college, and to rewind a little bit more there, whenever I graduated high school in Leland, I was dying to get out of this small town, thinking it was the worst thing at the time. Because if you're not experienced to anything else, you have no experience in anything else, small town living when you have nothing else is usually kind of like horrible in your mind. You want to get out. So I left, and when I was 17, I went to Nashville, Tennessee, and the first town I lived in there was Madison, and there's a reason for that story, a little tidbit of information. But I lived in the town of Madison, which is just on the north side of Nashville, and I went to Nashville Auto Diesel College to paint cars for a living. And I did excellent there. I had a 3.9 GPA overall. I had a Craftsman Award. I had perfect attendance. And I graduated about a year and 2 or 3 months later. And I was engaged at the time to a girl named Julie. And I moved back and moved in with her in a funeral home in Earlville, Illinois, another really small town. And our relationship faded. I ended up meeting somebody new, and whenever I met her, she was actually helping me through another crisis that I was going through at the time. I had a cancer scare, and what I went to college for was to paint cars for a living. And I was a painter, as most of what I did was painting all the time, airbrush stuff or just overall car restorations.
Lots of women.
There was 3 women in the entire college, and the rest of it was all guys.
Oh, I meant that you're painting on.
Oh, no.
Airbrush, man.
No.
That seems to be the big thing nowadays, though. People are doing a lot more of the body art. They got Skin Wars on Sci-Fi and all that, with RuPaul.
This is auto body cars.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well,
oh, that's what you meant.
I don't know if you were confused or if you were just making fun of the... I always painted cars, and I also had a job when I was in college painting custom shop guitars.
Right.
For a guy named Dino Bradley, who has...
See, there's another type of body.
Yeah. he passed away not too long ago. But whenever I came back, I ended up having a cancer scare. I worked at a couple of body shops, and then my production rate was lowering, and I was sick all the time. And it turned out I was having a rough time with cancer of the esophagus, esophagitis, acid reflux disease in its later stages. And the day after the C word was even mentioned to me by a doctor, I lost my employment at the body shop because they said I had a lowering production rate, which is half accurate, but I know that they were more worried about insurance premiums.
Right. Well, being around all those chemicals and stuff, I mean, that can't be good for the big C either.
It's not. It's why I'm not doing that work now, and
right.
that was the end of it for me at that point, which sucked. But this new girl I'd met, her name was Allison, and she, financially I was in a mess at the time, and she helped me pay for medication Like she was just being a friend. I mean, here's a few bucks to help get some of these pills that I know you need to get. And that's kind of how it kicked off. I met her through another friend. And sometime shortly after, I started seeing her, and we ended up getting married. And we got married in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Right on.
And I was with her for a few years, but the marriage didn't last. We were married in August, and then we were... she basically told me, without getting into a lot of detail, on New Year's Eve at stroke of midnight that she was going to leave, and I didn't take her seriously at the time. But she told me she was going to leave because she had met someone else. So a couple months later, we filed for divorce in March. It was finalized in April. I started seeing somebody new in May. Found out she was pregnant in June. And got married again. So I got married twice in less than a year.
Right on. And Mr. Casanova over here.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But we got married after she was pregnant. Tried my damnedest to make a relationship out of it. My ex-wife, her name's Shannon. I got 2 great kids from her, but we could not really create a real intimate emotional relationship as much as I think we both tried. It just wasn't working that way, so we eventually filed for divorce, and it took several years to get through it, but we did. And now I'm just happy to be able to co-parent with her without it being a whole lot of stress or trouble. I'm one of the more blessed ones. I mean, we've had battles through co-parenting situations, but it hasn't been so bad compared to so many others. The divorce was a very lengthy, expensive process, mostly because I had started this thing called entertainment. After the cancer scare, it took me a while to kind of find my bearings and reinvent myself and try to decide what to do with my life at that point. Photography is something I had been doing since I was 16, so I kind of fell back on doing photography, Deviant Desires Photography. I'm sure you've seen.
Oh, absolutely, man. That stuff is fantastic. There's some really nice ladies on there.
Well, the photo work is what got me involved in film. I was invited as a photographer with some of my horror art that I do to come be a special guest and display my art at the Chicago Horror Film Festival, which was run by a guy named Jason Davis, a good friend of mine to this day. And I fell in love with the festival when I was there, and I told him I'd love to come back and get involved again in this next year. I also joined a band the week prior and ended up playing at the Chicago Horror Film Festival on stage in character as a top hat gothic character named Mr. Willy, and the band was called Dia Morte. So I learned some
play
songs.
A lot of Christian music.
Not at all. I learned a lot of songs that were like 8 to 13 minutes long, some of them, in a few days' time.
I'm trying to break the record there. Huh?
Yeah, trying. It didn't really work out all that well. I didn't really know the songs that well, but I played drums, so I was able to kind of make it work.
Yeah, that had a... speaking of which, that actually brings me to my next question, is what really exactly made you want to get started in film?
The festival. Chicago Horror Film Festival, I mean, is kind of what turned me on to it. I mentioned being on stage performing music and then displaying my photo art. The next year I came on to be a stage manager and help produce the event. And then the year after that, I hosted the event as Mr. Willy, the top hat character, and co-produced it. And then Jason Davis, the original founder, was going to step aside because he wanted to start driving truck over the road. And basically he was getting a little burnt out by it. So I was handed the
Now this guy, is
keys.
that the same one who wrote the book series Deadhead Miles?
Deadhead Miles is a anthology of short stories by a variety of artists, but he is one of the writers on there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, those are actually some pretty interesting books. I haven't read any of the stories. I know nothing about it, other than it's a collection of horror stories from truck drivers. I'm actually a truck driver myself, outside of being a smartass and entertainer. So what kind of projects do you have that you're working on lately?
2020 has been a motherfucker. as everyone knows.
That's an understatement.
It's been an extremely challenging year. Present day, I mean, I mentioned taking over the Chicago Horror